Welcome back to Catholic Culture Small Groups. We are so glad to have you here tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about a topic that's a little bit heavier than our usual topics. We're going to be talking about loss. Now, at first, when we hear the word loss, I think a lot of us can jump to the idea of death or of some huge, big, traumatic loss that sticks out in our own lives or in the lives of people that we love. That's kind of where our brain goes first. But I want to spend time today talking about the other losses that we have in our life. And sometimes we don't give ourselves the credit or the grace to process through those things. So tonight we're going to spend a little time diving into that a little bit deeper. I wanted to list a couple of common losses that we experience just as human beings to kind of start off tonight's topic and get us thinking about the ways that loss has affected our own life. Some common losses can be the loss of routine, of safety, security, certainty, a paycheck, your house, friendships, school, the loss of a dream, the loss of independence, the loss of self-esteem, a broken heart, the loss of a scholarship, the loss of college admission, the loss of body image, the loss in a divorce. So again, these are just a few topics that kind of demonstrate to us that loss is so broad and is so much more than just one specific definition. So as I read those, I hope that maybe one or two of them stood out to you in a way that you never noticed before. Maybe you thought, wow, I never really thought about that as a loss. I just kind of brushed it on and kept going. And that is a great part of the human spirit, that we're so resilient and that we can absolutely encounter hardships and really tough things and can use our support system, can continue to grow and move through it. But it's also very important to give ourselves time to process those losses. What can happen a lot of times for humans is we experience a lot of hardships and we do power through. We just push through and we keep going, and we don't spend time to heal or to allow ourselves to look at what that was or what it meant to us and give it the time it needs to heal. And while that can be really helpful in the moment to continue on and to keep doing what is set in front of us, it can also be really harmful to our own bodies. There is a saying that goes, the body keeps the score. And what that means is that when we experience hard things, when we experience loss or trauma or pain or whatever it could be, our body will keep track of that in one way or another. And I think especially as young adults, we feel a pressure to keep striving and do more and do better, and so we don't spend the time that we need to take care of our own health, whether it's our physical health, our mental health, emotional health, whatever it could be, spiritual health. All of those things can get overlooked while we're trying to hustle or while we're trying to get that grade or get that internship or start a family. Whatever it is, there's a lot of pressure to not take time and deal with the losses we've experienced. But that is not the kingdom way. That is not anything Jesus has asked of us. One of my favorite scriptures is in John 11. So if you do have your Bible, if you'll flip there to John 11 really quickly, we're going to look at the shortest verse in the Bible, which I think is one of the most powerful verses. Even though it's short, it packs quite a punch. So in John 11, chapter 11, verse 35, a little background on this story. This is a story of when Lazarus, Jesus' friend, dies, and he goes to visit the family that is still there, the sisters and the community that has come together to mourn Lazarus. And when he gets there, the sisters are very upset, obviously, and express their anger and their disappointment and their hurt towards the Lord. And he asks them to take him to the tomb where Lazarus is. But before they get there, there is this verse in John 11, verse 35, and it says, Jesus wept. And that's it. That's the whole verse right there. And I think that's so powerful to us, because I know for me, sometimes when I think about Jesus in the Bible, I just think of him as a robot figure almost, of like just going around doing miracles, saving the world, and not really having emotions. But I think that verse really points us to the truth that Jesus felt the weight of that loss. And yes, that is a loss that has to do with death, but I think there's also a loss in that when he saw his friends and his community grieving and so sad and heartbroken. Not only was he sad for Lazarus, his friend who had passed away, but he was also sad for the sisters and for everyone there that had experienced this tragedy. And I think it's really important for us to remember that Jesus weeps with us. Just because it might not have been a death that we've experienced, the loss that we have encountered has hurt Jesus' heart with us. And it's really easy to get angry, and it's really easy to want to even shut down and not engage in our faith when we experience a loss, because it can feel like, what the heck? God, I thought you were supposed to have my back. I thought you were supposed to help me. How is this lining up with the Christian life? And it's really tempting to want to push away during those times. But I think this story is such a beautiful picture of how we're supposed to press in and not pull away in loss. Jesus didn't back down. He didn't run away. He didn't avoid it. He went straight to the source, and he wept. He expressed his emotions. He was vulnerable with the people around him. And I think that's an invitation for us as well. I think it's really important in the story to see how no one encountered this alone. There was no single person that was just off by themselves, boarded up in a house, never talking about what happened. The sisters were with people in their homes. They went and encountered Jesus. Jesus was with his disciples when he heard the news. And I think it's a great model for us in Catholic culture to lean on our community. And so you have this beautiful community group, this small group that you have been building, and we hope that you feel safe and that you feel included in this group. And so we feel like this is a good time to start breaking down some of those losses that we've encountered. And we're not asking you to spill all your guts and tell us every horrible, sad loss that's happened in your life, but this is a place to start looking at those things. These are the people that want to walk alongside you in this process, and we here at Catholic Culture are just so hopeful and prayerful that God is going to use these community groups to help us walk through loss. I think in the last 6 months, with everything happening with the coronavirus and just everyone, mad hating on 2020, there has been so many losses. We've lost so many lives. We've seen people lose jobs, lose security, lose, plans, hopes, dreams. All these things have been crushed in some way or another. And everyone has been touched by this. Everyone has been affected by this. And it's important for us as Catholic Christians to take time, set it aside, and process what some of these losses have meant. There's no such thing as a hierarchy of loss where it's like, oh, well, this person lost their job and I only, lost a relationship. Me and my friends don't get to hang out as much anymore. So I really shouldn't mention my thing because it's not as bad as theirs. Like theirs is way worse or whatever it is. That is not real. That is a lie, and the devil is just trying to keep you quiet. It's just not true. Every loss is important to the Lord. Every loss is important to us. In some way or another, it's affected our lives. So as we share tonight and just dive into those places where we need healing from Jesus, I just encourage you to not listen to any of those whispers or lies you might hear about my story isn't important or my loss isn't valid. If you've lost something, it matters. It's part of your healing process to talk about it and to walk through it. And just a big, huge encouragement to not do it alone. Even if you don't feel comfortable sharing right now, do not let yourself isolate in loss. It's so easy right now with the way everyone is spread out and disconnected in a new way we've never experienced to just shut down and isolate. But please, please, please do not do that. That's what your community group is for. That's what we're for here at Catholic Culture. So please let us know how we can serve you and how we can love you during this time. As we begin our discussion, I wanted to do one more Bible verse that really encourages me whenever I'm feeling hopeless or just depressed when I hear all of the things that people are losing. And loss can look so different for everyone, and it can manifest so differently through sadness and loneliness and depression and isolation and even just feeling numb or feeling disinterested, not wanting to participate in things that you've always loved. It can look so different for everyone. And so one of the scriptures that I really love is Psalm 34:18. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He saves the crushed in spirit." And I think that's just such a sweet promise as we look at loss, that it can feel daunting to address these things and to look at them for what they really are. But the truth is, Jesus is close to you in those moments. He comes near, and he's not afraid of what is heavy on your heart. He wants to talk to you about it, and he wants to surround you with people who can help you walk through it, which is what this community group is. So I want to pose a couple questions to you and just kind of open the conversation for you guys to start talking about some of these topics. It can feel scary, it can feel intimidating, but just know that you're not alone and that we're here to walk with you. So some of the questions that I have for you guys are: is it easy or hard for you to share your losses with one another? And what makes it easy or hard? In the last 6 months, what have you lost? How have you handled or coped with that? How can we allow God to help us deal with loss? How do you feel when you think about the fact that Jesus wept? So those are just a couple questions to get you going and to hopefully spark your conversation. And I am just praying that you are able to feel the nearness of the Lord and his kindness in his heart for you, that he loves you so much and he is heartbroken with you alongside these losses, but he's not hopeless, and he has hope and he has a promise for your life. So God bless. Enjoy your time together. We're so grateful that you are willing to share your heart and your life with us. We love you.